We shot the ball well, which I knew we could. We just hadn't at this point. But led by Matt Mitchell's three-point barrage, we're hard to guard when that three ball goes in. That's anybody in the country. When you make the three, it makes everything easier. And we made some open ones, and we made a couple tough ones. So good night shooting for the Aztecs. Our defense continues to get better as we spend more time on it and challenge the team in practice every day. And feel pretty good about where we're at right now heading into the Legacy. We will need our entire bench for that event. We play 3 games in 4 days. I think the toughest part is going to be playing that 10 o'clock game on Thursday night and then coming back and either playing at 4 or 6 the next day under a 24-hour turnaround. Will be a challenge for every team in the event, but obviously us more than others playing the late night game. So looking forward to taking today off, which we are, letting the kids rest their legs a little bit, and then heading up to the Legacy tomorrow.
You mentioned the timing. What's your thoughts on that? I mean, it happened last year at the Mountain West Conference Tournament. There was like a 9:45 tip that you played. It seems to be happening more and more in college basketball, TV dictating it. As a coach, are you adamantly opposed to that?
Yeah, I think the TV has way too much control over tip times. I mean, to play a 10 o'clock game at night in the West Coast, to fill a time slot is kind of ridiculous. People in the East aren't going to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning to watch a game on Thanksgiving. So, and the people in the West are going to be in bed at 10 o'clock. So only the most dedicated Aztec fans will be at the game and be watching the game. So, yeah, 10 o'clock is way too late to tip a game West Coast time.
And what about that turnaround? I mean, if you win and you come back at 4 p.m. the next day, how do you even do that?
We, as coaches, will be prepared because we'll have done our work in advance. We won't do a lot of Georgia work, obviously, with the team. So it's going to be their concentration level. We'll do a walkthrough in a ballroom and just a few things that we think are important to the game and turn around and play that next game. So it's not easy for any of the teams, obviously, but everyone deals with the same situation, so we won't make excuses. We'll get up the next day and play that next game.
Is there a safety component in playing 2 games that close together?
I don't know that, Mark. I haven't, looked at any statistical stuff where guys get hurt if they play too quick without the proper amount of rest. I just know that we have a good 11-man team, and so the nice thing of that is I won't feel if I have to go to the bench if a guy gets fatigued right away that we'll drop off a whole lot. We have a lot of good players on our team, and it'll give us an opportunity to maybe use some different combinations to stay fresh.
Some of these players are returning players who were in the conference tournament last year and played games on back-to-back days. So do you feel that experience is going to help?
I think it helps, but fatigue is definitely always a factor. You start looking at jump shots, they start ending up a little short. You have to get your legs in the shot, and your legs get tired the more you play. So it's an advantage to have a little rest, which we'll have in between Friday's game because they have a day off Saturday, then we won't play till Sunday. So the big challenge will be Friday's game, and then we'll have a day off to rest their legs. And coming off a day off, hopefully we'll have fresh legs for Sunday's game, hopefully in the championship if we're fortunate.
What will Thursday look like for you guys, especially in the evening, with this 10 p.m. start?
It'll probably be, in all honesty, a challenge. I mean, kids even growing up, they don't play games at 10 o'clock at night. They don't stay up that late and start playing games, so it's not like, well, hey, they played games when they were young at 10 o'clock at night. So, but that's a challenge for everybody. I mean, Sac State's in the same boat we are, so they're not, there's no one at an advantage on something like that. Although I think we will have great fan support. Last time we played in the Legacy, we had incredible fan support, and we ended up winning it. And that was a big part of it, that to fill up Fullerton's gym with Aztec fans in that small environment is a huge advantage for us. So I would say Aztec fans that want to support the team, come out there, be loud, and it will help your team.
Brian, can you talk about Mitchell, what he did not do the first couple of games, and did he have a different feel, a different rhythm last night?
It's like all our guys, Lee, when they don't make shots, they get in the gym and they work harder. so they don't try to luck their way into a good game. So he got in the gym, he spent extra time shooting, trying to get in his rhythm, and it's when you see the first one go in, you know, if you go 0 for 2, you might not want to take the third one because you're playing with other good players. But when he saw the first one go in, then the second one, and then it just opened up for him. The basket was the size of the ocean at that point. So once you get a rhythm, once you get rolling, the basket's easier to make. And I think his teammates knew he was rolling, and they got him the ball. You know, we had 32 baskets. I think 21 of them were assisted, something like that. So we move the ball freely, we share the ball, and if we continue to do that, we'll get a lot of open shots, and hopefully they'll continue to go in.
What's sort of your approach to a kind of tournament-style schedule, and do you feel like your roster's kind of built for this kind of setting, considering that, you know, how deep you are?
Yeah, we're definitely built for a tournament setting, and because we have, you know, obviously we don't have max right now, so we're 10 deep, and all 10 guys can play and contribute. We don't drop off very much. And that's from practicing. You know, watching these guys practice against each other, it's really competitive every day. So it's not like whatever starting 5 I put out there dominates the second unit. The second unit wins a lot of times. So I do have depth. I do have players that can come in and, given an opportunity, contribute. So we'll see what their conditioning's like, what their legs are like, and I will go as accordingly to use the bench if I think it's needed, early and often if I have to.
What's the word from the trainers on Max and how he's doing?
It's kind of day to day, you know. They look at him and see what the swelling is. I know it's going down on its own. They haven't had to drain his knee. So he's already rehabbed, full rehab mode, and working hard at that. And I just trust in Sergio and our medical staff, and when they tell me he's ready to start doing a little bit more, some shooting and stuff like that, we'll get him going. So, like I said at the time, I'd love to have him right now. But I think we're very fortunate that he's going to come back after everyone saw the hyperextension on the floor against Arizona State. We're just happy to have him back at any point at this time.
Are you sort of approaching just this week and how this is going to go in terms of, like, you know right now he's probably not going to play?
I know he's not going to probably play in the opener, but, you know, it's day to day. It really is. You know, it's how he feels, you know, how much pain he's got, you know, because it's basically a bone bruise from the bones hitting each other when he hyperextended. So now it's just, you know, how quickly he's able to heal. So there's nothing structurally wrong other than the bruise, which is painful. So it might take a little while. So we're going to be very cautious and make sure he's ready. We're not going to try to rush him out there for a preseason tournament or a game. You know, the conference is everything. So we want to make sure he's healthy going into the conference season.
Brian, what kind of adjustment does Hensley have to make if he's not a starter? Is it a different psyche thing to come off the bench?
Yeah, I talked to Jeremy on that, and I told him, you know, I liked him as a starter, but with Max down, I didn't want to come off the bench with 3 freshmen. And so I thought I'd put a freshman in the lineup, Matt, he's very deserving, and get a veteran off the bench in Jeremy, get a little veteran punch like Max was giving me. Max is good enough to start, but he fell into the role of coming off the bench and has done a great job in that role. So, you know, I just thought instead of, you know, bringing 3 freshmen off the bench, you know, I'd put one of them in the lineup and only have 2 of them off the bench as needed.
How do you mentioned, you know, you might play Georgia on a very short turnaround, and the coaches are looking ahead, but, you know, they've only played 3 games, and they really haven't played a high-level opponent yet. How do you even scout that this early in the season, particularly a team from a place like Georgia that you don't normally see, you wouldn't normally watch on TV?
Yeah, the teams that have a lot of returning players, you can go to last year's tape. So you can see them against their conference tournament or conference opponents. And you got to rely on how their conference played them, what they tried to take away. And so you kind of look at this year's tape to see if they're running similar stuff. And if they are, then you go to a year ago's tape to see how their people in their conference played against it and what they tried to take away. So we look at both this year's tape, even though the competition hasn't been as strong, and we go to last year's tape when the competition was very strong and try to find a median between the two.